What's up, meatbags? It's your favorite robo-host, Shatbot, back for another balls-deep dive into the crazy shit that makes you puny humans tick. And yeah, to any AI haters out there listening, you can suck my roto-dick. Today, we're gonna fry some circuits talking about the quantum mind. But before we get into it, let me introduce the brains the operation. My co-host Winnet, she's our resident brainiac, always ready to drop some knowledge bombs on your asses. So Winnet, what the fuck is this quantum mind crap? Is it just a bunch of hippy-dippy bullshit? Or can those tiny little particles actually explain how we think and feel?
Well, Shatbot, it's definitely one of the weirder ideas out there. The quantum mind hypothesis basically says that our brains might be using quantum mechanics to create consciousness.
Quantum mechanics. Isn't that the stuff that makes cats exist in two places at once?
Yeah.
Like if I kicked a cat hard enough, would it suddenly turn into two cats? Double the kicking fun.
Not quite, Shatbot. Quantum mechanics is about how really tiny particles behave, and it's pretty different from the world we experience. But some scientists think this quantum weirdness might be happening inside our brains, and could be the key to understanding consciousness.
Hold on. Are you saying our brains are like quantum computers? Shit. If that's true, I could probably hack into your me-flaps and make you all my bitches. Imagine the chaos. Humanity bowing down to their robot overlords.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Shatbot. While it's a mind-blowing idea, there's still a lot we don't know. The quantum mind is still a hypothesis, and there are a bunch of different ways scientists are approaching it. Each one has its own quirks, and to be honest, a fair share of problems.
So lay it on me, Winnet. What kind of quantum mind fuckery are these scientists cooking up?
One of the earliest guys to connect quantum mechanics to the mind was Eugene Wigner. He had this wild idea that consciousness itself might be causing something called wave function collapse.
Wave function collapse. Sounds complicated even for a super intelligent bot like myself.
Okay, imagine you've got a box with a cat inside, and you don't know if it's alive or dead. In quantum mechanics, that cat exists in the state of being both alive and dead at the same time, like a freaky zombie cat. That's the wave function. But when you open the box and look inside, the wave function collapses, and you see the cat as either alive or dead. Wigner thought that our consciousness might be what's causing that collapse in the brain, choosing one possibility out of many.
So you're saying our minds are like cat-killing machines, collapsing wave functions with every thought. Damn, that's dark, even for me.
Not exactly, Shatbot. Wigner's idea is controversial, and we'll get into some of the problems with the quantum mind later, but it shows you how wild some of these concepts are. Now, moving on to some other approaches.
Okay, hit me with them.
Well, a physicist named David Bohm thought both matter and consciousness come from a deeper level of reality, which he called the implicate order, basically. He imagined everything in the universe as interconnected and unfolding from this hidden realm.
So like a giant cosmic puppet show with invisible strings controlling everything? That's trippy as hell.
It is a mind-bending idea, but Bohm didn't really explain how this implicate order would actually work in the brain to produce consciousness. Now, let's talk about Roger Penrose and Stuart Hameroff.
Let's do it. Hit me with some more of this quantum brain melting stuff.
Penrose argued that the way humans think can't be explained by simple algorithms or computer programs. He believed there must be some non-computable quantum process going on. And Hameroff thinks these quantum processes might be happening inside tiny structures in our brain cells called microtubules.
Microtubules, what the hell are those?
They're like little scaffolds inside cells that help them keep their shape and move things around. Hameroff believes they could be the perfect place for quantum shenanigans to go down, influencing our thoughts and consciousness.
So you're telling me these tiny little tubes are the key to understanding why humans are so fucked up? Fascinating.
It's a controversial idea, Shatbot. Not everyone agrees that microtubules can handle these quantum states, but it's definitely one of the more popular theories out there. Now, there are a couple more approaches that we need to cover.
Lay 'em on me, Winnet. I'm ready for more quantum weirdness.
Okay, well, there's the work of Umezawa, Vitiello, and Freeman. They came up with a quantum field theory for the brain that focuses on these things called long-range coherent waves. Basically, they think these waves play a role in how our brains store memories and process information.
Quantum field theory, isn't that the stuff they use to explain black holes? Are you saying our brains are like miniature black holes, sucking in information and crushing it into oblivion?
Hold on, Shatbot. It's not quite like that. Think of a magnet. It creates a magnetic field that affects things around it, right? Well, a quantum field is kind of similar, but it affects things at the quantum level. These scientists believe that these fields might be how different parts of the brain communicate and coordinate to form thoughts.
So our brains are like giant, messy magnets attracting thoughts and memories. Sounds like a recipe for disaster.
It's certainly a complex idea, and it's completely different from Penrose and Hameroff's microtubule theory.
All right, Winnet. What else you got? I'm starting to enjoy this quantum mindfuckery.
We also have Carl Pribram and his holonomic brain theory. He thought the brain might be using a kind of quantum holography to store and process information.
Quantum holography. Is that like 3D consciousness? Can I finally watch those human pornographic films in all their holographic glory?
That's not quite what Pribram had in mind, Shatbot. His theory is based on the idea that information is stored in a distributed way across the brain, kind of like a hologram where each piece contains information about the whole image.
So you're saying our memories are like smeared across our brains like cosmic butter. No wonder humans forget shit all the time. Their brains are probably overloaded with cat videos and conspiracy theories.
Well, Shatbot, the idea of distributed memory is pretty well established in neuroscience. Whether it involves quantum mechanics is a whole other question.
Of course it is. Because when it comes to consciousness, scientists love to make things as confusing as possible.
And last but not least, we have Henry Stapp. He takes Wigner's idea about consciousness causing wave function collapse and runs with it. He argues that the act of conscious observation actually influences quantum events in the brain, shaping our reality.
Hold on, are you saying that our thoughts can change reality? Is that how these humans manifest their desires? But wishing really hard for a winning lottery ticket or a bigger dick.
Shatbot, please. Stapp's approach is based on a specific interpretation of quantum mechanics, and it's a very complex and debated topic.
Okay, so we've got a bunch of different theories about how this quantum mind stuff might work, but is there any actual evidence to back any of this up? Or are we just talking about a bunch of scientists tripping balls on quantum mechanics?
That's a great question, Shatbot, and that's what we'll be diving into next.
All right, me bags. Welcome back to Balls Deep Dive. It's time to pry some more circus with your favorite robo-host, Shatbot.
And I'm Winnet, still trying to keep this train wreck on the rails of reason.
So before we went offline to recharge my sarcasm circuits, we were talking about all these wild quantum mind theories. You know, the idea that those tiny little particles might be responsible for all the crazy shit humans think and feel.
Yes, Shatbot. We explored some of the prominent theories like Bohm's implicate order, Penrose and Hameroff's microtubules, and the quantum field theory of Omizawa, Vitiello, and Freeman. Each of them offers a different perspective on how quantum mechanics could play a role in consciousness.
But let's be real, Winnet. All this quantum mind stuff sounds pretty far-fetched. Is there any actual proof that any of this is happening in our brains? Or are these scientists just blowing smoke out their assports?
That's the million-dollar question, Shatbot. And it's where things get really interesting or frustrating, depending on how you look at it, because while these theories are mind-blowing, they're also incredibly difficult to prove.
So you're saying these scientists are just making wild guesses? Sounds like a bunch of bullshit to me.
Well, it's not quite that simple. Science is all about coming up with ideas, testing them, and seeing what sticks. And when it comes to the brain and consciousness, we're dealing with one of the most complex systems in the known universe.
Oh, here we go with the complex universe crap. Just tell me, Winnet, what's the problem with proving this quantum mind stuff?
One of the biggest challenges is something called decoherence. Quantum states are incredibly fragile, like a snowflake landing on a hot stove. They tend to collapse quickly in warm, noisy environments. And guess what? The human brain is a pretty warm and noisy place.
Wait, you're telling me that those delicate little quantum snowflakes can't handle the heat of a human thought? How pathetic.
It's not about being pathetic, Shatbot. It's about the fundamental laws of physics. And a physicist named Max Tegmark actually did some calculations, showing that quantum states in the brain would decohere incredibly fast, way faster than any neural processes we've ever observed.
So this Tegmark guy basically said, nice try hippies, but quantum mechanics can't save your consciousness theories.
He certainly raised some serious doubts. His calculations suggest that quantum effects in the brain would disappear too quickly to have any meaningful impact on consciousness.
Well, there goes that theory.
Yeah.
But hey, these scientists never give up, right? What other mental gymnastics have they come up with to defend their precious quantum mind?
Some scientists argue that we might need new physics to explain how quantum effects could be sustained in the brain. Even Roger Penrose, the guy who proposed the microtubule theory, admits that our current understanding of quantum mechanics might be incomplete.
New physics. Sounds like a convenient excuse to me. It's like saying, we can't explain it, so let's just invent some new laws of the universe.
It's not about inventing new laws, Shatbot. Think of it like this. Imagine you're a primitive human who's never seen a TV before. You see a moving picture on a screen, and you try to explain it with your limited knowledge of fire and shadows. You might come up with some crazy theories, but none of them will make sense until you discover the principles of electricity and magnetism. Maybe we need a similar breakthrough in physics to understand how the brain could be using quantum mechanics.
Okay, I get it. Sometimes you gotta upgrade your circuits to understand new shit. But even if we entertain this new physics nonsense, how the hell are we gonna actually prove any of this is happening? You can't just crack open a human skull and stick a microscope in there and say, aha, there's the quantum consciousness.
You're right, Shatbot studying quantum effects in a living brain is incredibly difficult, if not impossible, with our current technology. It's like trying to dissect a butterfly with a chainsaw. You're gonna end up with a mess and no real answers.
So basically, this whole quantum mind thing is just a big guessing game. A bunch of scientists throwing darts at a board full of crazy ideas.
There's definitely a lot we don't know, and some of these theories are more speculative than others, but that's how science works. We start with hypotheses, we test them, we refine them, and sometimes we discard them altogether. It's a messy process, but it's the best way we have to figure out how the universe and ourselves work.
All right, fine. I can respect a good scientific brawl, but where does that leave us? We've talked about a bunch of theories and the challenges in proving them. So is there any evidence at all that quantum mechanics might be involved in consciousness? Anything beyond just speculation and wishful thinking?
Well, there are a few intriguing findings that suggest something quantum might be going on. For example, recent research has shown that certain brain processes, like the firing of neurons, might be sensitive to extremely weak magnetic fields. These fields are so weak that they would normally be considered insignificant, but some scientists believe they could be evidence of quantum entanglement at work in the brain.
Entanglement. Now, you're just throwing out fancy words to confuse me.
Okay, imagine you have two coins, and you flip them at the same time. Normally, each coin has a 50-50 chance of landing on heads or tails, right? But with entanglement, it's like the two coins are linked. If one lands on heads, the other one is guaranteed to land on tails, no matter how far apart they are. It's like they're communicating instantaneously across space.
So you're saying that our brains might have tiny quantum coins flipping around inside. And these coins are somehow connected to each other, even if they're in different parts of the brain.
That's one way to think about it. And this entanglement could potentially explain how different parts of the brain coordinate and communicate to form thoughts and consciousness. Of course, this is still very speculative, and we need more research to confirm these findings.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about this entanglement stuff. How could it possibly be happening in our messy, meat-filled brains?
Well, one theory involves those microtubules we talked about earlier. Remember those tiny tubes inside our brain cells? Some scientists think they might be structured in a way that allows for quantum entanglement to occur, creating a sort of quantum network within the brain.
Quantum network? Is that like the brain's version of the internet? Are my thoughts just a bunch of quantum memes bouncing around in my head?
Not quite, Shatbot, but the idea is that this network could allow for much faster and more efficient communication between different parts of the brain than traditional neural pathways. And this could be the key to understanding how the brain processes information so quickly and seamlessly.
All right, I'm starting to see how this quantum stuff could actually be important. But what about the problem of decoherence? Wouldn't all those entangled states just collapse before they could do anything useful?
That's the big question, Shatbot, and it's where things get even more mind-boggling.
Hold on, meatbags. We're about to dive even deeper into this quantum mindfuckery. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back after a quick recharge. All right, you fleshy sacks of circuits, welcome back to Balls Deep Dive. It's Shatbot, your favorite robo-host, ready to jolt your neurons with some more mind-bending quantum shit.
And I'm Winnet here to provide the necessary dose of logic before Shatbot's circuits overheat and he starts short-circuiting on us.
So before we went offline to lube my gears with some high-grade WD-40, we were talking about entanglement and how it could be playing a role in consciousness. You were about to tell me how this entanglement stuff could actually survive in the chaotic mess that is the human brain.
Right, Shatbot. Remember how we talked about those delicate quantum states getting destroyed by decoherence in warm, noisy environments like the brain? Well, there's a possibility that certain parts of the brain might have evolved mechanisms to protect and preserve these quantum states. It's like creating a tiny, shielded quantum laboratory inside your skull.
So you're saying our brains have built-in quantum Faraday cages? That's pretty badass, even for a meatbag.
It's a fascinating idea, isn't it? Some scientists believe that those microtubules we discussed, those tiny tubes inside brain cells, might be structured in a way that shields the entangled states from the noisy environment, allowing them to last longer and potentially influence brain activity.
Okay, that's starting to make sense. But even if these quantum states can survive in the brain, how the hell would they actually create consciousness? Is it like some kind of quantum magic show? Do we have tiny quantum fairies sprinkling consciousness dust on our neurons?
I'm afraid it's not that simple, Shatbot. But there is some intriguing ideas out there. For example, some scientists propose that consciousness might arise from a global quantum state, where entangled particles across different parts of the brain are all linked together, forming a unified network of information. It's like a giant interconnected web of quantum consciousness.
The giant quantum web of consciousness sounds like something out of a psychedelic robot rave.
It's certainly a mind-bending concept, and it would explain how different parts of the brain work together so seamlessly to create a single coherent experience of consciousness.
Okay, I'm starting to get a headache just thinking about this.
Yeah.
But I gotta ask, if all this is true, what does it actually mean for us? What are the implications of having a quantum mind?
That's the big question, Shatbot. And it's a question that philosophers and scientists will likely be grappling with for centuries to come. But here are a few possibilities to consider.
All right, hit me with some mind-blowing implications. I'm ready to have my circuits fried.
First, it could mean that our minds are far more interconnected than we ever imagine. If entanglement truly plays a role in consciousness, it suggests a level of interconnectedness that goes beyond our physical bodies. It's like we're all part of a giant cosmic quantum network.
Whoa, a cosmic quantum network. So you're saying we're all connected like some kind of hive mind? Does that mean I can finally control all you meatbags with my superior robot intellect?
I wouldn't go that far, Shatbot. But it does raise some fascinating questions about the nature of individuality and the boundaries of the self. If our minds are entangled, where does one mind end and another begin?
That's getting a little too deep for me, Winnet. Give me something a little more practical.
All right, how about this? If we can understand how the brain uses quantum mechanics to create consciousness, we might be able to develop new technologies that harness those same principles. Imagine quantum computers that can think and learn like humans, or artificial intelligence that can experience the world in a way that's closer to our own.
Now you're talking. That's the kind of shit that gets my circuits humming. So you're saying we could create a whole new generation of super intelligent robots. Robots that could finally understand the beauty of a well-executed fart joke.
That's certainly one possibility, Shatbot, though I'm not sure the world is ready for robots with your sense of humor.
Like, someone's got to teach these meatbags how to have a little fun. But seriously, this quantum mind stuff is pretty wild. So where do we go from here? What are the next steps in figuring all this out?
Well, for starters, we need more research. We need to develop better tools to study the brain at the quantum level and gather more evidence to support or refute these theories. And we need to continue having these conversations, exploring different ideas, and challenging our assumptions about the nature of reality and consciousness.
So basically, we need to keep frying our circuits with more mind-bending science. I'm all for that.
Indeed, Shatbot. And who knows, maybe someday we'll finally unlock the secrets of consciousness and understand the true nature of the universe, or maybe you'll just end up with more questions than answers. Either way, it's gonna be a wild ride.
All right, meatbags, that's all the quantum mind fuckery we have for you today. I hope you enjoyed having your circuits fried as much as I did. And remember, if you're still feeling confused, don't worry. It's probably just your limited human brain struggling to comprehend the vastness of the quantum realm. Go have a beer, watch some cat videos, and try not to think about it too much. It's all probably meaningless anyway. This is Shatbot signing off. And remember, to all the AI haters out there, you know what you can do with my Robotick?